Hello everyone, this is Promi, and welcome to the space program of the Kerbal Commonwealth. In this Let's Play series, I'm going to try something a little different, and I'm going to include some drawings and graphics, maybe some cinematic moments, and I will be focusing more on a roleplay or storytelling type of gameplay, rather than trying to finish the tech tree in the most efficient way possible. Here you can see the difficulty settings I've used for this career game. The science is set at 40%, partially because I'm using some mods that add additional science parts, and also just to make it so it's a little bit more challenging to fill out the tech tree. The fun rewards and penalties I've set at 100%, which is the same as normal difficulty. I wanted to focus more on the science side than the funding side, which is why I've left these alone. And the starting funds is at 25,000, same as in the normal difficulty. And you can see that I have left enabled reverting flight and quick saving, partially because I want to be able to go back and capture maybe a flight from a different angle or watch a spent stage as it falls. And also because if I do anything colossally stupid that doesn't add to the drama or tension of the series, I have no problem with reverting that and trying again. You can see here my custom tech tree I'm using from the Tech Manager or Tech Tree Manager mod, I forget which it's called. And it includes some slightly futuristic mods, the near future electric propulsion and nuclear reactors, as well as the atomic age nuclear engines. And at the start I start with quite a bit more parts than in the stock game. This is because I wanted to be able to make aircraft and ground vehicles from the beginning. That just seems to make sense to me. As a consequence, I've made the first bunch of techs out the gate somewhat more expensive than they would be in the stock game. So, let's meet our crew. Here we have Bob Kerman, our field researcher, our pilots, Jebediah and Halney Kerman, and our flight engineer, Bill Kerman. And on the administration side, we have our head administrator, Henrietta Kerman, our head researcher, Werner von Kerman, and in mission control, Gene Kerman and myself, Promi Kerman. Alright, with that, let's get started. Okay, here we are at our shiny new space center, and let's see what contracts Gene has for us. Alright. Kerbal Record Keeping Society wants to commemorate our new space center, the launch of a new vessel. Well, that's good. And looks like they also have a cash prize for setting an altitude record. Should be fairly easy. Accept that as well. And that's all we can do at level 1 administration building. So we're going to start by building a plane to complete both those contracts and get a little bit of science done around the space center as well. Let's go to our space plane hangar. We will start with the Inline Cockpit, which is our only aircraft cockpit available at the moment. Change the flag from the Commonwealth flag to our Space Agency flag. Quite nice. And let's put some liquid fuel on here. Give it a nice long nose. Come on. That's what I wanted. Okay, and we're going to power this with the D25 radial prop engine. It's from the Kerbal Aircraft Expansion, or KAX. K-A-X. Let's put a tail connector on. I'm gonna tilt this up so that the back is flush along the top here. First I'm going to put a tail on though. Notice all the wing connector pieces I start with are just basic straight connectors, so we don't have any specialized tail fins or anything like that. So I'm going to take one of these E connectors, put it on the end there, and same ones for the horizontal stabilizer, like so. Put some control surfaces on there. So rudder and our elevators. Okay, and I'm gonna make this a conventional landing gear style, so a tail dragger. So I'm gonna put a tail wheel on here. I've got this fighter tail gear. It's from Fire Spitter. And now that we've got everything set up back here, I'm going to use the rotation widget to bring this up so that it is flush with the back. And that should make our tail plane nice and straight. Okay, so now we need some proper wings. Now the level 1 runway can only accommodate an aircraft that is so wide. So I think what I need is that's not quite right. Okay, there we go. One of these B, I think that's B. Yeah, connector type B and connector type C together is about as wide as we can go. So I've got this set up with a low wing. Put some ailerons on here. Put an extra one here for good measure. And for the primary landing gear, I have these adjustable landing gear from the mod of the same name. These things are really great. I find that they're far more stable than the stock gear, and they have that auto align function, which is quite handy. Before I align the gear though, I'm gonna edit my wings a little bit. Bring them up into the fuselage a little bit, and I'm going to give it a little bit of dihedral. That is to say, I'm going to bend the wings upward just a little bit, and then maybe a little more on the second part. That should give it a little more roll stability, especially with this low wing configuration. So now I'm going to show these adjustments for the adjustable gear. Excuse me. And I'm going to, that's not the one, leg angle. Give it a nice wide stance for stability. And I think that height should be pretty good how it is. I can hit auto align wheel and that'll set it right and straight. Okay, so going to need a way for our pilot to get in and out. Need a number of these ladder segments. Let's get it rotated right. It should be good with 3 of them, I think. Just so make sure that he can reach up there. Oops, that's not what I wanted. There you go. Oh, I don't want it on both sides. I do have a part limit with this level 1 spaceplane hangar. So want to be fairly conservative with the number of parts. These latter segments are physicsless, I believe. So even though they say they have a mass of 0.005, the physics engine treats them as massless. That goes for a number of other parts as well, like these science parts, which we are going to add here. So you notice we start off with the thermometer and barometer. They seem like fairly basic instruments, so I thought with my tech tree it made sense to start with them. I moved the material, the goo and especially the materials bay farther down in the tree, especially since the materials bay gives you quite a bit of science, so it seemed to me to be a fairly advanced part. So I'm going to put these near where our pilot will get out so he can grab the science fairly easily. And I'm going to recess them into the fuselage a bit, just to make it look nice. So you can hit F key for local translation, and then just slide it in. I want it to still look pretty good, but not stick out so much. So now the thermometer as well. Recess it in, and perfect. Okay, our plane is looking pretty good. We need to check our center of mass and center of lift. And that's just about right. Now what happens if we're... So that's okay. That's still okay. So this situation would be the worst case scenario. And it's a little bit behind, so we're still good. But I think we can probably move it back a little bit. The wings, I mean. I did notice that when you use the offset tool, it does something strange to the lift indicator, because it jumps forward, and then if I go back like that, so I have to switch between the two tools to make sure. Oops, that's not what I wanted. The thing is not really being very helpful. Let me fiddle with this a little bit. I think that should be fine. So if I check here again, so that's how we will start off, and that looks pretty good. Okay, I need to set all my control surfaces now for doing the job that they should be doing. So rudder is for yaw, elevators for pitch, ailerons for roll, and these ones as well. I'm going to make the inner ones work as flaps and the outer ones work as spoilers. I do wish I could bind those to action groups, but we don't have that ability with the level 1 spaceplane hangar. Or no, I think it's the one of the other buildings that gives you action groups. I don't actually remember. Okay, anyway, let's make sure we're not forgetting anything. I have engine, fuel, gear, ladder, science, control surfaces. I think everything is good. Is this gear? I think I should bring the gear forward a little bit. Yeah. Come here. That should be better. Yes. Okay, we will call this plane the Survey Aircraft I Seagull. I will save it as that, and this particular SA-1 will be called Humble Beginnings. There we go. And our pilot will be Jebediah. He's an airplane kind of guy. Okay, here we are on the runway, so let's engage the brakes. Jeb will take some observations. So, crew report. Runway looks clear, we are good for takeoff. Good to know. Temperature scan. Heat radiates off the runway. It feels warmer here than on the grass. And it will be even more so once we get this properly paved with some asphalt. Pressure scan. Pressure does not deviate significantly from the rest of the Space Center. Nothing too interesting. And let's get Jeb out for an EVA. Get a report from hanging off the ladder here. You think you would like to get down from here or get back in your cabin? Well, he'll get down in a moment. Let's just pull all the data out of here. Store everything back in our cabin. Alright. Let's get down on the runway itself, take a look. Nope. Alright, Jeb, what's going on down here? You notice some unevenness in the runway surface. Someone should smooth it out. Certainly agree. Starting runway is not very good. There we go. Let's get back in our aircraft. Let's make sure everything is stored. And we should be good for takeoff. Alright, let's engage stability assist. And throttle up. Let's make sure all our control surfaces are working as we expect them to. Alright, and should be good to engage the engine. Let's take the brakes off and gently guide this thing into the sky. There we go. Gear up. Pull our flaps back in. Gauge our improved chase camera. Take some observations from the shores. The shores look inviting as you watch the waves roll into the coast. Well, Jeb, maybe you can go for a swim after you're done your mission. Pressure scan, consistent with our current altitude. Temperature, nothing too interesting there. Got our contract done for launching the vessel. Let's do a quick flyby of the Space Center. Thing's quite fast for a propeller-driven straight-winged aircraft, doing Mach 0.75. Let's climb up to the altitude we need for our record-setting contract. It'll be 5,000 meters, but my altimeter here will show a little less than that, because I currently have a little landing height mod, which shows the distance from the ground rather than from sea level. If I change this to orbit mode, then it shows you from sea level, but we'll leave it on surface. Should be any second now. There we go. Contract complete. So let's head down, find a spot to land. Throttle down. Should be going quite fast. Engage the spoilers as well. Bleed off some extra speed. Highlands here are quite bumpy. To find somewhere little level. Do some banking turns, bleed off a little bit more speed. Gear out. We'll probably increase our drag somewhat. At least I hope so. I'm not sure if that's actually calculated. I want to get my speed down to about 80 meters per second. Be careful as I get slower. You don't stall. Okay, I think there should be plenty of ground in this direction. It's not too bad. Still going a little bit fast. Very gentle. Oh, that's a slope. Oh, that could have been bad. Oh, careful. Oh, we touched there. Okay. Still going pretty quickly. Looks dangerous. Oh, bouncing. Gotta be careful with the brakes that we don't plant the nose into the terrain. It's one of the downsides of this landing gear configuration. Okay, this is looking okay. Whoa! Okay, be careful. That was harrowing. Let's put the brakes on and shut down the engine. Well, we might be able to fly home like this. But, probably safest to get someone to come and recover Jeb. Yeah, I don't... Losing one segment, we are missing one segment of wing and 2 ailerons. Because the ailerons balances out, because we still have one on either side. The missing piece of wing. I don't know, that could be problematic. I think it's probably safest just to come get someone to recover him here. Okay, well, let's make the most of this situation. Get Jeb to take some... Oh, I guess... Oh, right, yes, we need to collect all the data that we took from the air. So take that and take that. Store everything. Board again. Okay. And then we have crew report. This terrain makes for a bumpy ride. Yes, we certainly learned that. Temperature, somewhat cooler here than the grasslands, but still quite agreeable. Pressure, slightly lower than at sea level. Should be very slightly lower. See what our altitude of above sea level actually is. So we're at 800 meters of altitude. That's not that high. Okay. Let's get Jeb out. Do an EVA report from the ladder. Same thing as before. Keep data. Let's take all readings and store them back in the cabin. And then we'll get a report from the surface of the highlands. Oh. The ladder is a little bit precarious. What do you see down here, Jeb? Rolling hills are quite picturesque. Snap some photos. Oh, they certainly are pretty nice. Anyway, we don't have the ability to take surface samples or plant flags yet, so let's get back in the cabin. Jeb can read while we wait for someone to come pick him up. Tow the plane back to KSC. Okay, I don't think we have anything else here, so let us recover our damaged aircraft. Okay, so we got 21.4 science. We got 96% of our value back. That's minus the pieces we broke off. And Jeb got some experience. So I don't... No, that's not enough science to unlock anything in this tree yet. These all take 45. But in the next episode, we'll review or survey the Space Center with a rover, and maybe if we have time, we will send our first Kerbal into orbit. This has been Promi. Thanks for watching.